Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over some common building mistakes that console Fortnite players frequently make. I have a list of about 5 to 6 different things that I see average level players doing all the time that really holds them back from being good or even great builders. My hope is by pointing these things out, you guys may recognize that you're making one of the mistakes in your own game, and then you can obviously work to remove it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first building mistake that many players frequently make is overusing high ground retakes. Don't get me wrong here, high ground retakes are an incredibly important building technique, and you absolutely need to know at least 1 or 2 retakes to be a great builder. However, what a lot of people don't realize is that you're really only supposed to use high ground retakes in very specific situations. A lot of players mistakenly think that when they're on low ground and they want to go to high ground, they need to start spamming retakes like they're Retakes or something. And sure, low ground to high ground is definitely when you want to use them, but only in very specific scenarios. If the enemy or enemies you're building against are on your level or below you, spamming high ground retakes is definitely not the right play. Retakes typically use a lot of materials, they can be decently difficult to execute, and because protection is such a priority, they're usually a little slower than the other options to go up. I know cranking 90s kinda gets memed about by some people as this building technique that only creative warriors care about, but 90s are definitely the best play in that situation. They're hands down the fastest and easiest way to go straight up while also being protected on pretty much all your sides. So if the enemy's on your level or below you, 90s are your best play, but if the enemy's already above you, that's when you need to use retakes. Like I said, 90s do a great job of protecting your sides, but there's really no viable 90 that I know of that also protects you from the top, and that's the whole purpose of high ground retakes. The vast majority of them utilize a cone that you either build around or edit through at some point, and that obviously protects you from being shot at by anybody above you. Another very common building mistake that players make is being way too quick to play low ground in fights. Now I want to give a quick disclaimer here that if you love low ground, then that's totally fine. There are definitely some players out there who have practiced and gotten really good at that play style, but I definitely don't think that's the majority of players, especially on console. I totally get that it's no longer Season 4 anymore, and getting high ground is nowhere near an automatic win in a fight. Players have gotten really good at boxing up, low ground peeking, and various other skills that counter high ground. However, even though I totally agree that playing low ground and boxing up is one of the smarter plays you can make when you get ramped over, you don't want to resort to that until you absolutely have to. I can't tell you how many times I've watched one of my friends play. They'll see an enemy, and as soon as that enemy places their first ramp towards them, they just immediately give up and box themselves in. Sure, I guess you're reducing your risk there a bit, but you're basically conceding high ground, which is almost always a power position without even trying. The much better alternative is either, if you trust your building speed, start ramping/90ing up to try to block them off, or if you want to play a bit more defensive, shoot out their bottom ramp to make them fall, and then as they're falling, start ramping/90ing. I get that a lot of players don't want to risk getting outbuilt and then edited down on, but playing low ground and boxing up is an option that's gonna be there whenever you want. Unless you've mastered that playstyle, you shouldn't be treating it as a first choice. It should be looked at as more of a last line of defense. And I think that's even more true this season than ever before because of how weak the shotguns are. Our next mistake that we're going to cover is not properly capitalizing on good building. Let me describe to you a play that I'll see average to pretty good builders make all the time. They'll take height over someone or maybe even box them, then they'll just jump right into that player's body and take a 50-50 spray fight. Now look, I get it, if you're on console and controller especially, 50-50 spray fights definitely aren't the worst thing in the world for you because of aim assist, but at the end of the day, it's still a 50-50 fight. Even if you get lucky and hit 1 or 2 extra SMG bullets to get the kill, you still probably took a lot of damage in the process, so if that guy doesn't drop any healing, it may not even have been worth it. There are plenty of situations where ending up in a 50-50 fight is the best chance you're gonna get, but when you outbuild a guy, why would you settle for something like that? If you outbuild or box 90% of Fortnite players, they're gonna be rattled and really hesitant on what to do next. In all honesty, when I get built over or boxed in, I still get a little nervous even now. So all you really have to do in this situation most times is to make a simple edit that gives you left-hand peek advantage, or just wait for the enemy to make a blatant mistake. I can't tell you how many times I've boxed someone, so now we're in the same 1-by-1 with only a ramp between us, and then they'll panic and pull out their pickaxe to try to break one of my walls and exit out the side. As soon as that happens, I just spray their ramp and then spray them to death before they even get close to escaping. The next building mistake that I want to discuss is players not paying attention to how connected the bottom of their structure is. This is such a simple tip, but it's honestly one of the subtle differences between average and good builders. If I were to just theoretically pause a build fight that an average player's in and ask him like, yo, do you know how reinforced the bottom of the structure you're building on is, they'd probably have no idea most of the time. They're just focused on cranking 90s and going for high ground. But on the flip side, I'd be pretty confident that good players would at least have a decent idea how many spots their structure is connected at. Now this is important information because it's a major factor in how long you can build battle for. If I'm fighting a guy and I notice that the bottom of our structure is only being held up by 1 or 2 ramps, I'm building down and getting out of there ASAP. Because in that situation, all it takes is for one random player to hear the gunshots and see the building, and then all he has to do is put half an AR clip into the bottom of the fight, and now me and the guy I'm fighting are both gonna fall 15 levels to our death. However, if I can tell that the structure is connected by 5 to 10 plus pieces that are relatively spread apart, I feel a lot more comfortable taking this build fight. Because now if that same guy rolls up and tries to shoot us out, it's going to take him a solid 20 to 30 seconds of constant shooting to do so. And obviously that would give you more than enough of a warning to where even if you're super high in the sky, you have plenty of time to safely waterfall down or even launch pad away. So make sure you don't get totally tunnel vision on the build fight itself, and every so often check the connections at the bottom of your structure. It'll end up saving your life way more than you could ever possibly imagine. The next mistake regarding building is when players over-defensively build. The whole point of building in Fortnite is to eventually give yourself some kind of offensive advantage over the enemy. That could be an angle to shoot from, a potential edit play you can make, or just giving yourself much better vision of a fight in general. But a lot of people get way too obsessed about the defensive potential of building. If you're getting rushed by an enemy, it's fine to box up once or twice to sort of get composed and maybe heal up, but if you just keep repositioning and boxing over and over again, what are you really gaining from that? All you're doing is burning through materials in hopes of some miracle third partier to come through and save you. In reality, that's not going to happen 90+% of the time. You need to take charge and use your building to make some sort of offensive play. It's the same deal when you're going for high ground as well. Sure, you definitely want to get high ground and keep it for as long as possible, but if you just keep going higher and higher without pulling out your weapon and trying to get a shot off, that high ground isn't even doing anything to help you. I guess you can feel good about outbuilding the guy you're fighting, but again, all you're doing is wasting mats and increasing your chance of dying if you get shot out. You don't want to build for height, pause, and then transition to, alright, now I gotta get a shot off. You need to be looking for shot opportunities as you're building up. That's a mindset transition that takes a little bit of work, and it's something that average players struggle with, but you need to play like that to be a great builder. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down the comment section below. What's a mistake that you personally make in build fights? It can be one of the ones we talked about in this video or anything else. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.